We take a look at another Yankee making a move. This one crossed down. Curtis Granderson, 4 years with the Yankees, a lot of home runs, but Kenny last year, a lot of injuries that just completely sidelined him. He's looking to bounce back, and if he is going to do it, he has to do it in Citi Field.
Yeah, he got 4 years and $60 million coming off a terrible year, a very unfortunate year. Think of how much he would have gotten if he actually had a typical Granderson year. I've spoken to people who have spoken to Granderson since he made this decision. He acknowledges he has to change his swing. I mean, he altered it for Yankee Stadium's benefits, and he benefited from that. God, that was brutal.
Right. Made
but
perfect
now,
sense. Though.
Yes. Wow. But now he has to shift his swing. He has to hit all fields like he did when he was a Tiger.
And it seemed like most of the time with Granderson, it was either a home run or a strikeout, and you can't have a lot of strikeouts in that lineup because they're in desperate need of some offense. But you mentioned the injuries, and I think it's very important to note with Curtis Granderson, like Jacoby Ellsbury, where they're not something that's continuing year to year. They were freak injuries last year that kept him sidelined for the majority of the season, and I don't think there's any doubt that he's going to come back healthy. Now, will he get hit in the hand with another pitch? I can't predict that, but that hand is healthy right now.
Right, and if he is going to redefine his swing, as Ken said, this is a guy who has done that in the past. He did that with Kevin Long, and it worked out. And one of the things that always impressed me with Granderson when he came over to the Yankees, the Tigers got rid of him because this guy could not hit left-handed pitching at all. He found a way. He improved that part of his game, with usually at this point in the guy's career, you're not able to do that. Granderson did.
I don't want to compare players. I want to compare situations. So it's not going to be the first time you've heard this, Ken. Jason Bay signed with the Mets. Power guy in Boston, lost the power, moving to Citi Field for whatever reason. Could that happen to Granderson? His swing, tailor-made for that park. Suddenly, what if he slipped, hitting gap to gap?
Yeah, that's a real concern, Bob, and an obvious comp. I think what you have to hope, if you're a Mets fan, is that Curtis Granderson, maybe going into the situation, is aware this is a potential problem, will do what he has to do mechanically. I also think Curtis Granderson is a pretty tough guy. Jason Bay is too, but Curtis has been in New York for a while. I just think he'll be able to deal better, and I think Curtis Granderson is probably more talented, more athletic than Jason Bay.
You've got more protection around David right now in terms of hitting, Jack, but again, they're just power depleted. Granderson strikes out a lot. Chris Young strikes out a lot. So they've got some problems there. They need more power.
Yeah, if you're going to look at what the Mets did and really evaluate it, you're right. You look at Young and Granderson, and those are guys who are going to have a lot of futile at-bats. And I know we've gotten to a point where a lot of GMs are okay with a guy that strikes out 180, 190 times. If he hits you the 30 homers, the Mark Reynolds type. But the Mets need to have some productive outs. Their offense is the type of offense that is going to need to create a little more. You're not really creating when you add a Granderson and a Young.
And it's interesting, too, because if you look at the Mets coming into this offseason, fans were expecting for them to go out and spend a little bit of money and maybe get a nice player. And I think they needed to get a Curtis Granderson type or some type of name to come to that ballpark and try to draw in fans. And I think that was a big part of it as well.
That was a part of it. I think the problem is they're probably going to stop now. It's kind of going to be bottom feeding from this point. And I think Mets fans are kind of like, that's it. You know, that's just the one present. We want more.